Hi, in today's video, I just want to talk about one of the stranger things in a golf swing. It's basically where the lowest point the grip ever gets to in the downswing. So in the golf swing, we swing the club up to the top, obviously. And as we swing down, the lowest point the grip it should ever get is actually around this point in the swing. So from this point onwards, the grip of the club should be moving upwards and inwards. And obviously, as the club moves upwards and inwards, the club head will be traveling downwards and outwards. So at this stage, the grip and the club head are traveling in different directions. So that's obviously a strange concept to get around. You've got to sort of think that obviously you want to be hitting down on an iron, say, you want the negative attack angle. You want the club head to be traveling downwards, but that doesn't mean the grip of the club is traveling downwards. That can actually be really destructive for a golf swing. So from this point onwards, the grip should be rising upwards and inwards. So you can see off to the left side, ideally we'll be doing that. So as I pivot around, the grip is going to be rising. The club head is going to be traveling downwards. So there's this equal and opposite movement, creating an ideal pivot to strike the ball. Now, obviously, what we see a lot of is that obviously the grip gets this low point here. And obviously instinctively, some good golfers could really sort of think, okay, or good athletes, if you like, has a good instinct to get that grip to rise up through the ball. So they know that the grip needs to go this way instinctively, not necessarily consciously, but instinctively. As they do that, they actually use the arms rather than the pivot. So the arms are pulling that grip upwards to get into the grip into the right place, to apply the correct force to the grip, which again is the right instinct to some degree, but we're doing it with the hands and the arms, not with the pivoting motion of the body. That can be really destructive. So if you've got that look in your swing where your arms are doing this motion, again, it's not necessarily an arm fault, it's the fact that the pivot isn't quite working and doing its job. So if the body rotation and this left side doesn't work well enough, doesn't elevate up and round, we can't get that grip to rise to allow us to release the club downwards into position. We're then pulling the grip upwards with our hand and arm motion rather than using our pivot to create the upwards motion in the grip. So again, if you've got that look in your swing that you're doing this movement, you're probably doing this because the pivot, the body motion isn't quite working in the ideal way. So obviously working on the body movement is the real key to that. It's not about sort of just driving your arms outwards to make them look a certain way. So we don't want to be, okay, I'll get here, I can see this motion in the swing, I'm just going to fix that because we're going to be driving the club downwards into the floor too severely. So you've got this cycle that occurs where we get into this position, we might notice that, we might even top the shot. So obviously the grip rises and we make the swing more narrow, so somewhat small if you like. So that brings the club away from the floor. We miss hit it, we top it. Somebody says, okay, you lifted your head, so you get lower and you bend your arms more and more and more. And actually you're ruining it, you're creating a cycle in the wrong direction rather than actually working on the pivot, which this left side is actually going upwards. As we hit the ball, so we can strike downwards in this direction. So again, it's quite sort of a big concept, big thing we need to know is that this is the lowest point the grip ever gets. From there, the club rises in terms of the grip, but the club head is going to be lowering at the point of contact. And the key bit to that is that it's the pivoting motion, ideally, that creates the up in the grip, and it's the wrists that then send the club downwards towards the floor.